The young financier Matthew entered a jewelry store to choose a ring for his beloved. He plans to propose to her but still has doubts. Matthew's boss, who is also his beloved's brother, sends him on a business trip to China. While on the street, Matthew ran into his old friend Luke, whom he hadn't seen in 2 years. They agreed to meet after Matthew returns from China. Matthew is preparing for the upcoming trip. He and the company's business partners had lunch at a restaurant and raised a toast to their beneficial collaboration. Apologizing, Matthew went to the restroom. Suddenly he heard a familiar voice from the women's restroom. A woman was arguing on the phone with her boyfriend Daniel, shouting that it was over between them. Matthew realized that the voice belonged to his ex-girlfriend Lisa. He rushed after her but couldn't catch up as Lisa quickly left. He tried to look for her, but she seemed to disappear into thin air. Matthew recalls working as a simple salesman at an electronics store more than 2 years ago. It was here that he first saw Lisa on a television screen connected to a video camera. It was love at first sight. When he saw her on the street, he immediately followed her. Lisa has her own dance troupe, and every day they rehearse diligently to become the best. Matthew was mesmerized by her dance. After rehearsal, Lisa went home, unaware that someone was following her. In the present, Matthew found some items in the restroom dropped by Lisa. It was a credit card and a calling card from a hotel. His thoughts were interrupted by Rebecca, his fiancée, who accompanied him to the airport and gave him a sleeping pill for a comfortable flight, unaware that Matthew secretly decided to postpone the trip. All of Matthew's thoughts were now on Lisa, so he drove to the very hotel and went into the room where Lisa was supposedly staying. Matthew was very excited about the prospect of meeting his beloved after a long separation. However, Lisa was not here. Since Matthew had taken a sleeping pill beforehand, he felt weak and fell asleep. Next, the events take us back to the past again. Matthew shared with his friend Luke, who works as a sales consultant in a shoe store, that he had fallen in love with a dancer. Luke called him obsessed. Suddenly Matthew saw Lisa on the street again. When she entered the same store, Matthew pretended to be a sales consultant. Lisa was here to choose new shoes for herself. Since Matthew was nervous, he acted foolishly. However, he was determined to get Lisa's attention. Of course Lisa guessed that he was not a sales consultant and noticed how he had been following her the day before. Lisa didn't mind going on a date with Matthew. Since then, the two have been inseparable. Lisa revealed that her parents divorced many years ago. Matthew in turn shared that he dreams of becoming a photographer. Lisa kissed Matthew goodbye. He was so flustered that he didn't respond to the kiss. Matthew was about to leave but changed his mind at the last moment and returned to Lisa's house. For a few minutes he hesitated to knock on the door, but when he finally did, passion instantly flared up between him and Lisa. In the present, Matthew woke up in the hotel room due to a knock. Looking through the peephole, Matthew saw the maid who brought items from dry cleaning. Planning to leave quickly, Matthew noticed a torn newspaper. Putting the scraps of paper in his pocket, Matthew left the hotel. The first thing he did was to visit Luke and tell him that he had found Lisa. In the newspaper found in the hotel room, there was news about the wife of the famous industrialist Daniel Ristelli. She perished in a car accident. The funeral will be held today. Luke thinks that his friend was foolish to refuse to go to Shanghai. Moreover, Matthew was already planning to propose to Rebecca. Despite everything, Matthew intends to find out why Lisa left him without any explanation 2 years ago. Borrowing Luke's car, Matthew plans to attend the funeral, hoping to catch Lisa there. First, Matthew returned to the same restaurant where he had met Lisa the day before. He told the bartender that he had found a credit card here yesterday and asked him to pass a note to the owner if she came for it. Lisa was not present at the funeral. However, Matthew followed Daniel, whose wife had passed away. Daniel knocked on the door and asked Lisa to open it, but there was no response. Then Daniel placed a flower and an envelope under the door before leaving. Matthew immediately checked the envelope and found keys to an apartment. In his letter, Daniel pleaded with Lisa to meet and talk. Matthew constantly thinks about Lisa, who drove him crazy with her charm and dancing. He knows he will never find a woman like her. In the present, he put the keys in his pocket and left a note for Lisa under the door. Matthew completely forgot about the time and the fact that Luke had asked him to return the car by 7 in the evening because he had a date. Matthew apologized to his friend for a long time. Luke did not expect the lover to call him herself. Luke handed the phone to Matthew to rectify the situation. Talking to Alex, Matthew told her the truth. Alex advised him to continue the search for the mysterious girl. Later, Luke stopped by the theater to pick up Alex, who is an actress. The director was very dissatisfied with her performance because she couldn't convey all the emotions of her character. Meanwhile, Matthew spoke on the phone with Rebecca, who believed he was currently in China. That same evening, presumably Lisa found the note under the door from Matthew, asking for a meeting tomorrow at their usual place. Matthew waited for a long time, but Lisa never showed up. That's why he came to her himself. The door was not locked, so Matthew entered. He looked around the apartment as he suddenly heard the door creak open. Apparently, the homeowner had returned. Matthew was confused, but eventually approached her from behind. The girl was very scared, thinking he was a robber. Matthew explained that there was a mistake. It turned out that this girl's name was Lisa, but she was not Lisa Matthew was looking for. He realized that his beloved had not returned. It was all just his fantasies. Matthew was about to leave, but Lisa asked him to stay. Matthew told her his story. It was like an obsession. In reality, this girl doesn't look much like his Lisa. The girl in turn told him that Daniel was stalking her, so she had been living in a hotel for some time to avoid him. Matthew was already about to leave, but Lisa persuaded him to stay since she was afraid to be alone in this apartment. Although Lisa had known Matthew for less than an hour, she believed he was a good person. They had no idea Daniel was watching them under the windows. Matthew slept on the couch. In the middle of the night, he woke up to Lisa coming to him. Passion flared up between them. Matthew recalls the past again. Once he told Lisa that a friend showed his photos to an agency. Matthew was offered a job in New York, and he wanted his beloved to go with him. Lisa said she wasn't ready to talk about it today because she was late for rehearsal. She suggested meeting tomorrow in the park at their usual spot to talk. That was the last time Matthew saw Lisa. She did not come to the park the next day. Later, he learned that Lisa had gone on a European tour with her dance troupe. It was an absolute shock for Matthew. His beloved did not even say goodbye to him. Since then, Matthew gave up his passion for photography. Life lost its meaning for him without Lisa. In the present, Matthew woke up in the apartment of his new acquaintance. She, being a medic, was running late for work. Lisa offered Matthew to stay with her for a while, and besides, he had the keys. Matthew was confused and didn't know what to say. As Lisa left, she recalls the day when Matthew overheard the phone argument with Daniel in the restaurant. It turns out that this girl is not Lisa but her best friend. Lisa was indeed at the restaurant that day. After the argument with Daniel, she talked on the phone with her friend, who suggested that Lisa come to her. In the present, the girl is crying in her car, reminiscing about the past. She and Lisa were neighbors. The girl often heard conflicts between Lisa and her boyfriend, who accused her of acting like a child and constantly avoiding problems. When Lisa escaped through the window to the neighbor's apartment, they became friends. In the present, the girl came to her apartment, where Lisa is temporarily living to hide from David. Matthew decided to fly to Shanghai after all and booked a ticket. He still has a few hours. Matthew threw away the key to his new acquaintance's apartment, not intending to return there. Lisa suggests the friend go with her to London, but she likes her job. Besides, the girl has many boyfriends, including a clingy guy from the shoe store. Of course, Luke doesn't know the whole truth, just like Matthew. No matter what the director says, Alex is a good actress. In the evening, Luke told Alex about his friend whose girlfriend named Lisa left him 2 years ago. Suddenly, Alex pretended to have a headache and asked Luke to take her home. Obviously, Luke's company is tiresome for her. The guy tried to ask to visit her, but Alex said she wanted to be alone. Luke was tired of these constant excuses, but despite everything, he really likes Alex. Right after Luke left, Alex caught a taxi. To his friend, Luke lied that the date went well. Also, Luke wants to introduce Matthew to Alex. Today is the premiere of the play, and Matthew has just enough time before his flight. Lisa found Matthew's scarf among Alex's things. Alex lied that it belonged to her boyfriend. The familiar item made Lisa remember the past, as well as her friend. It turns out Alex has been watching Matthew for a long time. She fell in love with him at first sight, but he never noticed her. Once, Alex and Lisa were shooting a video, trying to improvise. As a future actress, Alex needs to overcome shyness, but Lisa does it better. Reviewing the video, the girls discovered that there was no sound. Apparently, the camera was malfunctioning. Later, Alex shared with Lisa that she fell in love with a guy, although they had never spoken. Lisa advised her friend to take action. Earlier, Alex had taken the camera for repair. Thus Matthew saw Lisa on the video and fell in love at first sight. Alex understood this from his face. Rushing outside to meet Lisa, Matthew didn't even notice Alex near the door. Since then, Alex has often seen the lovebirds having a good time in Lisa's apartment. In the present, Alex asked Lisa to lend her car tonight. Of course, Lisa didn't refuse. However, Lisa had some suspicions, so she returned to the restaurant. The bartender handed her the note from Matthew. That's how Lisa learned that he was looking for her. She tried to call her beloved, but he didn't answer because he was in the shower. Later, Matthew told Luke that he wasn't going to go to the play because he has a flight coming up. At that moment, Luke admitted that he lied about the date. There was nothing between him and Alex. That's why Luke wants his friend to go to the play with him. It would give Luke a boost of confidence. In the end, Matthew agreed. After that, he bought a ticket. A few minutes later, Lisa was buying a ticket to London at the same airport. Matthew had a strange premonition. Perhaps the girl who introduced herself as Lisa misled him. Matthew remembers where he threw the keys and tries to retrieve them. He had no idea that Lisa was passing by at that moment. Meanwhile, Alex was doing makeup for the play. Matthew arrived at the premiere, albeit a little late. In makeup he didn't recognize Alex, but she recognized him. Alex's character is hopelessly in love, so she could accurately convey her feelings. The audience applauded. Apologizing to Luke, Matthew said it was really time for him to go to the airport. After the play, Luke went to the dressing room, but Alex didn't open the door, crying. When Alex learned that Luke's friend was going to fly to China, she realized that she might have missed her chance. Matthew will never be with her. Alex remembered how 2 years ago Lisa said she was offered a European tour but had to fly right now. Since Lisa couldn't tell Matthew about it personally, she asked her friend to give him a letter. Having received the keys to Matthew's apartment, Alex promised to do it. But of course she had other plans. Coming to Matthew's apartment and listening to voice messages from Lisa, Alex deleted it. The next day, she watched Matthew waiting for Lisa in the park. Later, Alex told Lisa on the phone that she saw Matthew with another woman. Alex advised her friend to forget about this guy. This made Lisa cry. She sincerely loved Matthew and did not expect betrayal. In the present, Alex cries, feeling guilty. Luke confessed his love to her through the door. Instead of going to the airport, Matthew returned to Lisa's apartment. Luke and Alex spent the night together. In the morning, Luke received a call from Matthew, who admitted that he never flew to Shanghai but went to the apartment of that strange girl who introduced herself as Lisa. While Luke was on the phone, Alex ran away. Meanwhile, Matthew told Luke that there was something wrong with this apartment. He felt Lisa's presence here. After the conversation, Lisa called Luke, asking about Matthew. Of course, Luke was shocked. Lisa asked him to tell Matthew that she would be waiting for him at 3 o'clock at their usual place. Learning that Matthew didn't go to China, Alex called him and said she would be waiting for him at her apartment. After that, Alex returned to Luke. He said that he had just gotten a call from Lisa, Matthew's longtime beloved. Hearing this, Alex came up with an excuse and hurried away. Next, the events take us back to the past. Shortly after Matthew and Luke met again after 2 years, Alex came to the restaurant, where Lisa was waiting for her. When Alex saw that Matthew was here too, she panicked. Alex couldn't let them see each other. That's why she called and asked the bartender to hand the phone to the blonde at the table next to the counter. Lisa said that Daniel found her in the hotel. When Lisa asked the friend for permission to stay with her, Alex of course did not refuse. In the present, Alex and Matthew met again. He gave Alex shoes the same size as those in that apartment. However, they turned out to be too big. This convinced Matthew that this girl is not who she claims to be. When Matthew left, Alex immediately called Luke and suggested meeting. Alex had no idea that Matthew had followed her. Luke came to the restaurant and introduced his girlfriend to his best friend. Understanding what was going on, Matthew was shocked but didn't show it. However, he hinted to Luke that he was misled. When the conversation turned to the whole situation, Alex said that perhaps that crazy girl pretending to be Lisa has been in love with him for several years. According to Alex, love drives people to crazy actions. Luke didn't understand what was being talked about but didn't pay much attention. When Luke said that Lisa had called him today, Matthew's world turned upside down. It turns out Lisa really came back. Luke left for a while, and Alex finally handed Matthew the letter from Lisa. He realized that his beloved didn't actually leave him. Alex can't hold back tears. Despite everything, she's not going to ask Matthew for forgiveness because she did it out of love for him. When Matthew left, Alex tearfully told Luke that it's over between them. She is not what he thinks. Meanwhile, Matthew rushed to the airport, knowing that Lisa was going to London. Lisa is already waiting for him in the park. Her flight is soon, so time is running out. When Matthew arrived at the airport, he tried to find Lisa in the crowd. He didn't expect to meet Rebecca here, who came to meet her. Today Matthew was supposed to return from the business trip. Matthew was tired of lies and told Rebecca that their relationship was a mistake. For the past 2 years, he had been living wrong. Lisa is also at the airport. She called Alex and said that Matthew came back but didn't show up at their meeting place. At that moment, Alex confessed to her lie. Hearing that Matthew loved someone else all these 2 years, Rebecca was broken. She left, and Matthew continued searching for the love of his life. Finally they met. Without saying a word, the lovers kissed after a long separation that was unbearable for both of them. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel not to miss more exciting new products. Also, the authors will be pleased if you leave your opinion in the comments.